Welcome to our TribPreps Friday Night Football Recap Show. I'm Todd Sommerfeldt, Tribute Sports Editor. James Krause here with me. We're here to talk about everything that happened in Week 7. I can't believe that. We have 2 weeks left, regular season, aside from Minnesota. Man, it's going fast. Before we get to our games, let's go over a scoreless quick. In the MVC, on Alaska, 27-0 over Sparta. James was there. We'll talk about that. Central 22-14 over Holman. I was there, and we can talk about that. Toma 35, Logan 29 in a game where the Rangers had the ball at the end and just couldn't get down the field. Over the Cooley, Aquinas. These are a lot of games we kind of thought would go this way. Aquinas 56-0 over Arcadia. West Salem 37-8 over Viroqua. Westby 53-12 over Black River Falls. GET gets a win 27-14 over Altoona. Scenic Bluffs, Cashton 46-6. State-ranked Cashton, of course, over New Lisbon. Luther 62-8 over Necedah. Ridiculous rushing numbers in that one, right?
Yes.
For the Knights? Okay. Royals 61-36 over Brookwood. In a non-conference game, Bangor 48-0 over Ithaca. Prairie du Chien got a 56-0 win over Dodgeville. Blair Taylor 32, CFC 16. Pepinello 43, Melmin 6. DeSoto 50-14 over Kickapoo Lafarge, and over in Minnesota, Caledonia 2013 over Dover, a closer game than we had expected. Plus they had to come back to win that game. And then the score of the night, Cannon Falls 71, La Crescent 40. Since Alaska's leading the conference, let's start with your game. In that it was kind of a strange one because it took a while for anybody to score, right? And then Anna just kind of open some floodgates there?
Yeah, I would say, considering how good Onalaska's offense was, or is, this was sort of a pedestrian night for them. Obviously, a lot of teams will take 27 points. Onalaska, you kind of expect more, but I think the story out of it is their defense. They held Sparta to 118 rushing yards. Neither team actually punted in this game, which I didn't realize until afterwards. Neither team punted because the issue Sparta had was they would drive down the field, they'd get into Onalaska territory, and then they'd be stuck with 4th and long or 4th and short. 2 for 7 on the night on 4th downs, all of them either at the 35 of Onalaska or closer to the end zone.
Okay.
So, and that was something that Adam Dow was really frustrated with, is if we finish a few drives, this is a game at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
The story of it is they couldn't finish drives. Skifton was, talking with Tom Yashinsky. He sort of talked about how he knows teams aren't going to let Skifton beat them deep, or this wide receiver group beat them deep. And it was sort of nickel and diming their way down the field. And it was to the tune of 210 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brady Coons came back. He had a touchdown catch. And on that same drive, they lost another player, and Evan Anderson. He went out with what looked like a forearm injury or an upper body injury of some sort.
Okay.
And I don't know for sure the severity of it, but it sounded like Yashinsky was sort of settled into the fact that, some guys are probably going to have to step up in the offense to get things going for them.
Are they excited to have, I don't know if Brady Kuhn is 100% or if he's 90%. But
he
to have that 1-2 punch out of the backfield?
Yeah, he mentioned that we're probably going to see him and Cameron Cornett, who also had a touchdown rush in this game, but he also mentioned, a few other receivers. Pierce Sommerfeldt had a touchdown, or Summerfield, sorry.
Summerfield, yeah.
And, this is an Alaska team that is starting to take more form as a complete team.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of talked early in the season how their defense struggled a lot, couldn't get lined up properly a lot of the times, and tonight they get a shutout. They win it with their defense tonight against Sparta.
Okay. That keeps Onalaska in the MVC lead. For one.
And they can win a share of it next week when they face Baraboo.
Big game there, obviously. I was over in Holman at Empire Stadium tonight, Central 22-14, as I said there. It was just a strange game. Central came out and scored on their first 2 drives and made it 14-0. Jude Alvarado came out and Central decided they were going to throw the ball tonight, and they did. Despite being a little short-handed there. Henry Meyer didn't play in this game, hurt his ankle last week, and they kept him out of this game. Aaron Paloma took over, and he was the deep threat in this one. He had 7 catches. I think it was 122 yards. Every catch was for a first down. And he got open in the middle of the field. He got open, kind of all over wherever they needed him. And they came out through the ball very well. Jude Alvarado passed for 270, 2 touchdowns. And then he set one up with kind of like a sliding catch near the goal line. And Mr. Gavin Shepard took it from there and scored the touchdown on that one. Holman stayed in the game by recovering fumbles. There were 3 Central fumbles that it lost. Holman got on those. They stopped them twice on 4th down. At one point, Central was up 22-7, and Holman with this option offense. That was in the 4th quarter. And you're like, where's Holman going to find the time for 2 drives? But they had a 4th down stop. No, it was a recovered fumble. That's right, it was a recovered fumble. It may have been on a 4th down. They recovered at the 38-yard line with like 3.5 minutes left. Scored with 20 seconds left. That one was by Jack Barth, sophomore. It was his 2nd touchdown of the night. And so 20 seconds left, all of a sudden we got Andrew Ripp was kicking tonight for Holman, and he's setting up for an onside kick with 20 seconds left in a game that really felt all night like it was Central's. But all of a sudden, hey, they got a shot after that touchdown. And the onside kick ended up going out of bounds, and Central took over, and that's how it won the game. But I thought it was a really good all-around performance, other than the turnovers. For Central, I thought the defense played really well. The offense really clicked, especially early. I think Alvarado had 130 passing yards in the 1st quarter, and then both of his touchdowns. So he was finding guys kind of whenever he wanted to in that one. But Holman came back, played good defense, got the turnovers it needed to stay in the game. But the offense just never really clicked for a long stretch of time. They had the 2 touchdown drives, but just came up short today. So now you're looking at, they have to win out to get that winning conference record, and so does Logan, and they play each other next week. So somebody's going to be on the outside looking in next week after that one, and that should be a really good game, I would think. Let's see. Toma, first NBC win here. Again, dealing Logan a blow there. Another close loss for Logan.
That was after they were down 21 points with seven minutes and change to go, and they had 2 quick touchdown drives. Had another shot with less than a minute to go, but just ran out of time.
Yeah. Let's see. We saw a lot of these games, kind of what we expected. We thought there'd be a lot of one-sided games here. The Caledonia game obviously stands out. They were down 13-0 in that one.
13-0. Midway through the 3rd quarter, they came back with a touchdown run from their quarterback, and then Owen Denstead had 2 touchdown runs in the 4th. I think he finished with 187 yards, of 187 rushing yards for Caledonia.
Wow.
So, and that's before they go into a big game with Chatfield next week.
Blake Theory, Prairie du Chien, was responsible for, I think he had 4 touchdown runs and a touchdown catch. I think it was 237 rushing yards on 9 carries.
And you mentioned the
75 yards on 2 receptions and a touchdown. Go ahead, I cut you off.
You mentioned the Luther ridiculous rushing numbers.
Oh, yes.
I'm remembering them now. 16 carries as a team for 285 yards and 5 touchdowns. Only 2 kids got more than 2 carries.
Okay.
In all of that, so
and that was
a lot from across the board against a struggling Nacita team, but nonetheless,
a Nacita team that couldn't finish a game against Bangor. So
right, and that's
really struggling.
But Luther gets a ton of momentum heading into 2 big final games at Bangor, and then they host Cashton, where if they beat Bangor, that's for sole possession of the Scenic Bluffs.
Yep, exactly. Let's see. The Cannon Falls La Crescent game, AJ Donovan had 5 touchdown passes. They all went to Brady Grupa. I think he had 263 receiving yards. Big game, of course. The big number in that one, Cannon Falls, 606 total yards. And as I asked the guys if they wanted to guess at the yardage number. Andrew Tucker from Winona guessed 512 total yards. That was actually their rushing yards. So he actually hit that on the head, just the wrong category. And that's a state ranked team, but not often you see 71 to 40. If you see 70 something, it might be to a 6 or a 12, but not to a 40. So I think that takes care of what we got tonight. You can find all this stuff on lacrossetribune.com, including stories throughout the week. James has got some UWL stuff coming up since they host Stout on Saturday, so we'll have some coverage of that there as well. And then we'll put like kind of collections of these videos up too, and if you missed a week and want to see what we said about a game on a certain week, you can go back and look at that too. We'll get that up as well. And aside from that, I guess we will see you next week for week 8, and we'll know a little more about playoff placement and possibilities then, and we'll be setting up what looks like to be a really big week 9. A lot of big matchups coming up there. So thanks a lot for joining us tonight. We appreciate it, and we will see you next week.